Puja, greetings. I am Sehu Khepera. Welcome to our early morning ancient Egyptian devotional, dedicated to Goddess Net in all her mystic forms, gods and goddesses, who are derived from her transcendental essence. The liturgy, which you will be able to see on screen, is recited in the ancient Egyptian language, the Medu Neter. English and Brazilian Portuguese translations is provided for you. You can see these translations on screen directly below the hieroglyphic text transliteration. You're welcome to participate by chanting along in your worship space, home, or wherever you may happen to be during the service. Or you are also welcome to listen quietly in a contemplative mood. Following the devotional, Washu in the Kemetic language, the recitation of the liturgy and meditation known as Uwa in the Kemetic language practice, we will have a brief wisdom known as Rek in the Kemetic language teaching by Sehu Khepera Ankh, leader and priest of the Sehu Neter Temple of Net. Before we begin, please remember to mute all devices. We will now begin. Presented on the screen at the moment is a stone-carved depiction of the facing pylons of the Temple of Net from the statue of Heru. On the left and right sides are the pylons in which one of the symbols of Goddess Net sits atop of a papyrus standard. Her emblem is her two arrows tied to her shield. This symbolizes the protection and resurrection of the soul within this place, the temple. Behind the emblems of Net on both sides are the flags, which mean Neter, divinity. In the center of the pylons at the bottom is the opening to the temple, and above that is the pyramidal structure, which symbolizes the four equilateral planes of the universe and the mystic number 4. Above that, at the very top, is the cow hieroglyph, which means rising. It symbolizes the sun rising between the mountains, the Opet symbol, and for the initiates, the emergence of spirit consciousness. Bet Nesu Medu Neter Mine Jedef Nesu Hetepti Net Perkeru Menket Mert Hepsed Net Enkai Yeri Hepertep SSN Net Ina Rendef Jetta Net Nesula Neter, Jedefne Suhatepti Net Perkeru Menget Mert Hepset Net Enkai Gary Hepertep SSN Het Net Ina Ren Jetta Net Nesuma Kunatur Mine Jedef Nesu Tepti Net Perkeru Menget Mert Hepset Net Enkai Gary Hepertep SSN Het Net Ina Ren Jetta Net Nesuma Kunatur Emine Jedef Nesuma Tepti Net Perkeru Menget Mert Hepset Net Enkai Gary Hepertep SSN Het Net Inat Ren Jetta Net Nesuma Kunatur Emine Jedef Nesuha Tepti Net Perkeru Menget Mert Hepset Net Enkai Gary Hepertep SSN Het Net Inat Ren Jetta Duamu Gerefu Benefen Heru Akuti Anate Shirkira Nefer Neruben Duamu Gerefu Benefen Heru Akuti Anate Shirkira Nefer Neruben Duamu Gerefu Benefen Heru Akuti Anate Shirkira Nefer Neruben Duamu Gerefu Benefen Heru Akuti Anate Shirkira Nefer Neruben Ari Jenseker Aset Uhu Kef Uhu Besudi hatep net per Heru. Didi eskau abamonet. Nefer shepsi. Et net. Nesudi hatep net per Heru. Didi eskau abamonet. Nefer shepsi. Et net. Nesuti hatep net perheu. Didi eskau abamonet. Nefer shepsi. Et net. Nesuti hatep net perheu. Didi eskau abamonet. Nefer shepsi. Et net. Dua emshamsu en nebeje. Sehu Khepera. Dua asar nebrestau. Paut meteru. Aat ami netefert. Anateche kekenti amentet. Unnefer ab abdu. Matentu ai. Ku anekdorati bestau. Seteka sekert. U sari nehas. Ubed center. Set emka. Def sit neter. Oni entet. Neter. Asar. Erdit endek in ari Heru. Herme endes. Ari Heru. Aus ruatepi. Ari sech. Ab. Ua neter. Abu penha asar. Abu pen asar. Spur en Heru. Arit pert. Nehas sa. Wajit pa neter. Asa ari Heru. Ept em. Aset abuyen tuche. Medut yan. Aset sam. Uja. Setep saher am seti. Enti amsa asa. Sa am seti. Asar am seti. Medut nebetet. Apsheta. Ari besa. Her happy. Enti. Sa asar. Sa happy. Asar pu happy. Medut yan. Net. Sedua ra. Semesha ru. Net Ari maket en. Dua mutef. Enti amsa asa. Sa dua mutef. Asar pu dua mutef. Medut ian. Cirket enka ke sekeret. Sa ru net. Ari maket en quepsunet. Entet amsa asar sa quepsunef. Asar pu quepsunef. Dianater emluen duacheta. Dianater emluen duacheta. Nebuchadnezzar Medu, Anatet Cherke Asan, Putra, Makti Sati, Setu Sakati. Nebuchadnezzar Medu, Anatet Cherke Asan, Putra, Makti Sati, Setu Sakati. Nebuchadnezzar Medu, Anatet Cherke Asan, Putra, Maki Saki Setu Sakaki. Never Jamidu. Anatecheke Asai. Putra. Maki Saki Setu Sakaki. Hari Jen Cigarette. Ari Duaka. Kakao Uashu. Net net duanet. Sefekira selue. 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 Mu, 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 um, mu, 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 Om Amurapata Om Amurapatam. Om Amurapatam. Om Amurapatam. Om Saraseru. Om Saraseru. Om Saraseru. Om Saraseru. Heru Makeru. Heru Makeru. Heru Makeru. Heru Makeru. Ase. 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 Ankuja sele arinete amavela nete ankuja sele arinete amavela nete ankuja sele arinete Duara Luke Atien Caperu Luke Atien Caperu Luke Atien Caperu Luke Atien Caperu Heru 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 Heru, and Heru, and Heru, and Heru, Heru, and Heru, and Heru, and Heru, and Heru. Do I to Heru, 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 do I to Heru. Nook Nebejer, Nook Nebejer, Nook Nebejer, Nook Nebejer, Nefer Ventra and Adon, Nefer Ventra and Adon, Nefer Ventra and Adon, Nefer Ventra and Adon, Maheru and Ba Nebejer. Maheru Emba Nebejer, Maheru Emba Nebejer, Maheru Emba Nebejer, Luke Ua Ua, Luke Ua Ua, Luke Ua Ua, Luke Ua Ua, Nukmat, 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 Newt, Newt, sa, 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 Asa, asa, sa, 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 asa, asa, sa, sa, asa, asa, Kete au Ankh, Jed uwas hena, nefu kepetu, embaat, emdejasu, sonu imhotep. Aset, ua suja Heru, suja menut, nebu, sen efset, efsen, asar aset, etepi, suja au itu yaso, nesheshu, nebu, emhu, shemu, metu, tau, sep, nebu, neshteta, ua, menti, Heru, put teken, apt, tesu ken, ena, sefahaha, ijik kat, ena asar peta, keperu, medut ra, kat, nefi asar keperu, wahai, waka. Luke aset, Urke uemnayet, Ret enau seter samedu, en Jehuti, tep maat, empet ta atert, aset neter nefer ger, pu Ankh seske, sda ament, sa enken, pu enen, au ready nepkep, dit hetep, her, ft ent, nf tawi, uai, uaker. Heru ma Heru. Heru ma Heru. Heru ma Heru. Heru ma Heru. Then I mesra. Merit mesra. Merit mesra. Nuk kepra enduau. Ra emahauf. Temu ani mese. Nuk kepra enduau. Ra emahauf. Temu ami mese. Nuk kepra enduau. Ra emahauf. Temu ami mese. Uahai uaker. That's turn and turn. Move. Never turn. Jesseri. Ziferi. Netter. Netter. Never. Jesseri. Ziferi. Netter. 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 Jesseri. Nigeri. Netter. Netter. Move. Never. Jesseri. Nigeri. Uasheri. وتفعل and Neter. Emma, her, and Neter. Emma, her, and Neter. Emma, her, and Neter. Emma, her, and Mete. Emma, her, and Mete. And Mete. And Um, um, tap, 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 tap. Peace, 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 peace. Attempt. Dua. Attempt.
Uja, you won't see my image this morning because there's something going on with the camera. So I'll try to get it fixed today. Okay. So as we continue in our exploration of this central panel, important panel in the Karnak Temple hypostyle hall, before we go to line 10, there is something important that we should know, which will inform our understanding going forward. So recall in line 8 that it was told that there are dual divinities, and that these dual divinities are under the Hatnet, the foremost divinity. So you have one supreme divinity, and then you have under that the lesser gods and goddesses. So you have Nebuchadnezzar, which is the all-encompassing transcendental. Under Nebuchadnezzar you have Ra, and under Ra you have Shu and Tefnut, Geb and Nut. And then you have under them you have Asar, Aset, Set, Nebuchadnezzar, Heru, So line 8 is saying that the dual divinities are under the foremost divinity. And the reason why they made an emphasis on this point is so that the spiritual student can understand the henotheistic, pantheistic framework from which the ancient Egyptian religion operates. The ancient Egyptian religion is referred to as Sehu Neter. And within Sehu Neter, you have various traditions that are associated with certain cities. So for example, in the city of Anu, the high divinity is Ra. In the city of Thebes, the high divinity would be Amun. And in Menefer, the high divinity would be Ptah. So the Kemetic name for Thebes is Waset, and that's Amun. So all of these cities have a high divinity, and under the high divinities, Ra, Amun, Ptah, you have their pantheon of gods and goddesses. Well, Amun, Ra, and Ptah are all under Nebuchadnezzar. And the reason why, so that's one reason. The other reason is because in line 9, Heru is introduced. His name is here. So clearly, they wanted to circumvent any frustration, any confusion that the spiritual student may have when encountering Heru in the text. So they're saying that Heru is under the foremost divinity. So when you're reading about Heru, or studying Heru, you're not confused as to say that Heru is the foremost divinity. Heru is one of those divinities under the foremost divinity. Foremost divinity here, the name Hatneb. So Hat, foremost, Neb, divinity. So Hatneb. We are to understand in line 9 that Heru represents spirit light, shining consciousness, and that when the spiritual student is in metaphysical visual perception of that light consciousness, that is a reflection of one's own true nature. So you are essentially that light consciousness. So that light consciousness that you are, that is being reflected to you, is like a spark of the supreme divine, which is Nebuchadnezzar. So they want to make sure that you're not confusing that spirit light consciousness with supreme consciousness, which is Nebuchadnezzar. However, that spirit light consciousness realization is a very high attainment. This is nothing small or diminutive about it. It's a very great realization if you move from metaphysical visual perception to actualization through direct mystical experience of your spirit-like consciousness nature. And that occurs in rarefied states of meditation, highly advanced states of meditation. So now that we know that these dual divinities, so Heru, that spirit-like consciousness, since it is not the supreme divine consciousness, even while you are experiencing it as true nature of self, you're still in a realm of duality. So it's still a dual divinity, albeit a very high dual divinity. There is only one way, one final step from there to Nebuchadnezzar. So it's like the next step is Nebuchadnezzar from spirit-like consciousness. So we are to understand that Heru, spirit-like consciousness, although it is a very high attainment, it is not the supreme attainment. And that gives some indication of the difficulty of the task of Nebuchadnezzar realization and the dedication that the spiritual student has to put into this project to realize it. So now that is a foundation, now we go to line 10. Recall last week we went through the summary. So in line 10, recall we're coming from spirit-like consciousness realization in line 9, which has caused gladness, joy, satisfaction, inner contentment, spiritual attunement. So we're coming from that to line 10, where it tells us Khepera Ankh wat ge. So this symbol is a determinative for the term seher. So this term seher, its determinative appears at the beginning of the succeeding line, and that has some, it appearing at the beginning of the line has some profound significance that is infused in the line itself. We don't have time to go through it all. But what gives an indication, what will give you an indication, we don't have to go through it all, but what will give you a hint is that this determinative is seen in the term Akka, and Akka means head of. So this D is relating to this glyph, which means determinative. So Kerpu Erdu wat ge. Now this is Jehuti speaking to the personality that has discovered their Heru nature, spirit-like consciousness. Thus, you are the administrator of the wise ones, sages, saints, priests, priestesses, and the Neteru. You are the spiritual master, and thus has ascertained spiritual glory, and thus have realized the spirit-like consciousness. That is to say, have discovered the mystic glory of spirit consciousness. Thus, you stand as the chief guide and overseer of all wise ones, wise beings. I'm going to start over. Thus, you stand as the chief guide and overseer of all wise beings, sages, saints, priests, priestesses, and even the Neteru. Through mastery of the spiritual path, you have attained spiritual glory and awakened the inner light of consciousness, realizing the mystic radiance of the Spirit. Thus, you have attained the splendor of the Aku, awakening the inner light that shines from Nebuchadnezzar, beholding the mystic radiance that dwells within the eternal Spirit. So this term, Kerpu, here, means administrator in this context. And this term, Erdu, means great ones. So he's the administrator of the great ones through a spiritual realization of own divine consciousness nature self. And keep in mind that this is a This is really talking about you, about something that you are to attain and realize within yourself. Thus, it is possible for you to become a master of the Neteru within yourself. And what that means is mastering your own cosmic forces. Your cosmic force nature is within yourself. This realization of this higher consciousness, the Heru nature, gives you dominion over the lands of the Neteru. And this is what your Seren resurrection, this is what you're fighting for when you're in a battle against Set. Your Set is trying to keep you away from your throne. And your throne is that spirit-like consciousness. In effect, your ego and your egoism is vying to keep you away from your spirit-like consciousness realization. That is what is at stake. Excuse me. When you're operating through your egoism. That is what you're being kept from, that glory of higher consciousness. And therefore you are being ruled. You're being ruled by egoism, by anger, by jealousy, resentment, because you're not on your throne, and your throne is the light of spirit consciousness. But once you have attained it, you stand as the chief, as the guide, because your guidance is coming from that light spirit realization. And not by the ego, but by the spirit. And all the great ones, they look up to you, they honor you. They humble themselves to you. And the you that I'm speaking of is not your name or your temporal identity. The you that I'm speaking of is your spirit-like consciousness nature, Heru. And the text is speaking to the pharaoh. It is not speaking to the pharaoh physical nature, speaking to the Heru. So essentially, you are Heru, and you are engaged in a battle for dominion over the lands. And dominion over the lands relate to dominion over your mind, your feelings, your emotional content, your thoughts. The philosophies that emerge from your conscious mind. If ruled by egoism, you're going to spew egoistic ideas and concepts, even if well-meaning ideas and concepts. And to overcome that is to discover the mystic glory of spirit consciousness, which is one's own true divine nature. You are a divinity, and what is obscuring that realization, that egoism, that is what is keeping you from the realization of your divinity. Something that is already there, but is being obscured by the mind. And therefore, to remedy this issue, to claim your throne as Heru, entails the path of self-mastery, the path of the spirit consciousness. So you can realize the radiance of the spirit within. And when this realization occurs, the champion abides in that spirit glory. Like you don't yearn to be removed from there. You have attained your throne, and this is where you are seated. So you give up clinging to the world, clinging to your egoic ideas and concepts and feelings. And you abide in the glory of spirit. And if you abide there long enough, you would become a spiritual master in your lifetime. And you would absorb yourself in that spiritual glory. Realizing that you are the spirit light gleaming, and that is your throne, and that is where you're to be seated, situated, established. Anything other than that is living a life of error, delusion. Anything other than that, and anything other than striving to achieve that, is living a life of delusion and error. You don't have it now, you should be striving for it. If you don't have it now and you're not striving for it, you're living a life of delusion and error. The capacity to achieve it is directly related to the effort that one puts into purifying the mind to such a degree that there's a clarity that reveals the radiance of the spirit to yourself. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes practice. It takes long hours of self-reflection and turning away from the whirl of time and space. Turning away, yet engaged. If you turn away and try to run away, that in and of itself is an impediment. If you turn away but can be engaged, that will enhance your integration and will boost you towards self-mastery. Self-mastery is not being calm when you're sitting by yourself alone, unprovoked. The degree to your mastery is determined by how you are in interacting with other people, with situations, especially when provocation, temptation arises. And if you fall off the wagon, get back on, strive again, continue to move on the path of higher spirit consciousness self. And the result of that realization is that you are the monarch. You are the royal. It can be either female. Heru is essentially androgynous. So Heru is either male or female. So her female aspirants are Heru. Male aspirants are Heru. We're all Heru. But that's not enough, saying that we're all Heru. It's not enough to say it. It has to be realized. It has to be understood experientially. And then you can truly say that you're Heru, that you're sitting on your throne, and you're seated in the process of self-mastery. And this means overcoming delusions about who and what you think you are. Spiritual path dying. What? Here. Ned. Spiritual path. I'm sorry, K. Spiritual path dying. What, K? Your spiritual path. So it doesn't matter which one of the paths you choose. Anunian, Wasetian, Theban, goddess path. Your spiritual path is the one that you choose to lead you to the spiritual glory. And here also it's talking about the spiritual path that leads to the spiritual path of the gladness. If we go back, it's relating to the process of discovering the reflection. And that can be whatever path it is for you, whatever meditation practice that you choose, that you're utilizing to realize the face of Heru, to come in ascertainment of the face of Heru, which is your spirit light consciousness shining to you, reflecting your true nature. And then when you become absorbed in that, then you become the Kirpu, the administrator. So, discovering the nature of the Neteru, they're all under one supreme. And the one that you are vying to unite with is Heru, that shines forth as the shining spirit. In other words, your Akh nature, the Aku. And then when that occurs, so your royalty is related to an internal realization where you have discovered your higher consciousness nature. And then you are the royal, you are the ruler of the lands, which means a ruler of your mind, your feelings, etc. Okay, so that'll be it for today. I just want to show you one last thing before we go. So we're going to, in September, our Opet Festival commemoration, September 18th to the 20th. This year's focus will be on Queen Hatshepsut. So I'm going to do her red chapel, her obelisk in the Karnak Temple, and a couple panels from, or we'll see how many we get to, panels from her temple. It's called The Pharaoh Queen's Path to Enlightenment in a Single Lifetime. So we'll be covering the female pharaoh, the reason why her red chapel is important, because it talks a lot about the Opet ritual and what it's about, what are we to learn from it, how it helps us to renew our ascertainment of spirit and situate us on the path to spirit glory for the coming year, the new cycle. So it's going to be all her stuff. I think it's going to be unique and historic and all of that, because we're actually getting into the literature, the text, meaning the hieroglyphs related to the female pharaoh, and speaking on it from the mystic perspective, which it is. So it's going to be something nice and hopefully glorious and things like that. So just wanted to let you know, and that's when it's going to be. Okay. It's going to be these 3 days. On the 18th, we'll do a replay of the day 1 introductory Opet Festival lecture, because that lays out the whole process of the actual ritual on the actual day when it's done. So I don't have to do it over. So I'll just do the replay. It'll show the path of the priests and priestesses, where they go, how they enter the temple, etc., etc. and then we'll delve into the mystery of the female pharaoh. Okay, dua everyone. Until we meet again. Hetep.